So I've been busy for the past few days, so I wasn't able to do much content on this channel. But you guys have been busy as well, sending me DMs and messages on Twitter saying, dude, there's this video, you need to react to it, you need to share your thoughts on it. And that is of an alleged UFO flying very low over Tehran, which is the capital of Iran as far as I'm aware. And it's an impressive piece of footage. It's very crisp. It has not been filmed with a potato. It's very sharp footage. It looks impressive. And on top of all that, there's not just one angle. This particular clip, there are various angles. So in this video today, because you guys really have been sending me so many messages, I want to focus on this clip in particular, analyze it, break it down, and let's see where we get to. But let's start by looking at some of the footage that we get in case you haven't seen it. So this is the so-called Tehran UFO, and it's not to be mixed up with, I think there's a famous 1976 Tehran UFO case. It has nothing to do with this. This is very recent. This happened like about a week ago or something. So it's a very new viral UFO clip. Let's look at some of these clips and try to make sense of them. So I guess this, what you see here, is probably the most famous clip. You may have seen this floating around on Facebook, on Twitter, on Reddit, and so on. Let's take a look and also listen to the sound. Right, so it is, as you can see, not very long. It's 8 seconds, and you know me, right? That already makes me question the authenticity already. I mean, why would you stop filming here, right? I get it. It disappears into the distance, but like, surely you would keep your camera as long as you can on this object, if you can. But as I said, it's not just this. Here's another video. This is on Instagram, and this is kind of a compilation of a bunch of videos that show the same object from various angles, close-ups, and zoomed-in footage. So there's a lot there. Now, from what I could find out, these clips have not all been filmed from the exact location. Apparently, it all happened in and around of Tehran, but these are various locations all around the city. People have been filming this. And while I understand that there is a bunch of different clips that show the same object, look, if you would have an object, and funny enough, here you can see it in white, right? So it's not always this weird LED-like green. It also comes in white. But from what I could find, overall, we have maybe 6, 7 different pieces of footage. Here's another one. I mean, look, I can't show all of them in this video, so please don't comment like, oh, there's more clips. And it's like, I understand there's a bunch of clips, but I would still argue if you would have an alien spacecraft flying that low over a city like Tehran where millions of people live, and Tehran is big, okay? It's more than 9 million people living there. You would have more than 7, 8, maybe 10 pieces of footage of this object. It's just, it doesn't really add up to me. And here's another clip that I could find. Again, if you just go to Twitter and you type in Tehran UFO, then you'll find all these kinds of clips. Now, looking at a clip like the one we see here, okay, to be honest with you, this clip is fairly convincing to me. I leave the sound off because these clips don't have sound. People put music behind them. And the reason why I think that is because, like, you see the camera moving, right? It moves to the right, to the left. The position of this alleged spacecraft, UFO, whatever, is kind of very nicely mapped on top of the existing footage. And what I mean by that is usually when you artificially try to map an object into existing footage and you don't do it very well, you can see that there's a little bit of a disconnect, right? The object doesn't perfectly move unless you put a lot of effort into it. It doesn't perfectly move in line with the geometry and the movement of the camera. But that is the case here. So if it would have been only this footage that you see here, that's the only footage that we have, I would be like, yeah, okay. I would consider the possibility that this might be, I don't know, a drone or some kind of real object, right? That's really been filmed in the space. But to be honest, what makes me skeptical are a few aspects of this original clip we looked at in the beginning, okay? This does not look real to me. And there's a few aspects to it that make it kind of stand out to me. First of all, the way it disappears into the distance here. The flyover in the beginning, like, that looks convincing, right? That looks at least like somewhat of a real object. But then when it reaches this point where we are here now, it seems to accelerate. It seems to get faster. And I think that's not because the actual object gets faster. That is because the tracking of the CGI object over this real footage that previously existed is ever so slightly off. I want you to look at this. It flies really, really slow. But then now you see how it seems to accelerate off into the distance, and it almost seems to be like unreasonably fast. And then on top of that, what really gives me a sore thumb, is that something people say? I don't think anyone says that, is the sound of the video, okay? And it's funny because if you read some of the other clips, here it says the UFO was silent, witnesses says, okay, it was dead silent. But then if you listen to this clip, as we did in the beginning, you can hear... I don't know, man. That's how people imagine UFO sounds in science fiction movies. It sounds like a sound effect. Okay, it sounds like a sound effect that someone grabbed from some kind of sound library or used a synthesizer to create. I don't know, man. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right with me. It feels odd. And then there's a few more aspects that really make me question it. Like, for example, the government hasn't commented on it at all, right? Like, if a big object that they don't know what it is would be flying over the city and would actually be filmed by so many people, people approach them and say, bro, what the hell is this? Surely they would release some kind of comment or statement on it, similar to, you might remember, like the Phoenix Lights or something with the government. Because of the pressure of so many witnesses, the government was forced to come forward and at least have some kind of press conference. The government of Iran has not made any statement. Also, if you search for Tehran UFO for news articles, so you would imagine, you know, an incident like that would at least be covered by some news outlets, there's nothing. Okay, there's absolutely nothing. You can't find a single article that at least would be credible talking about it. It literally just lives on social media platforms. And then kind of the last thing on my list is that, like, the lights, bro. I mentioned it so many times before, but it's like, if these are aliens, why would they have nice, funny LED lights at the bottom of their ship? Do they want to be seen? Is that what it is? Are they like, we're here now, everyone should see us, we're flying over Tehran? It is as it is so often. When you take footage like this and then you push it through like logical filters, it just seems to fall apart. Like, all these things just don't make sense in the bigger picture. So I guess there are kind of two questions to this, right? Like two aspects, I almost want to say. The first question or aspect is like, is it aliens? And I personally, I mean, again, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think this is credible footage? Happy to discuss this with you. To me, it's pretty clear. It's not aliens, and then falling out of that is like, what is it? Okay, what could it possibly be? Now, one option, at least theoretically, is that it's some kind of oversized drone, right? And we watched some footage recently from Shenzhen, I believe it was, in China, where people designed this manned drone. It's huge. It looks actually very similar. I can't find the original clip now that I looked at in the other video, but it looked very, very similar when it flew over the crowd. But to be honest, I think that's unlikely, because Tehran is not Shenzhen, China, okay? It's not exactly like a tech capital, as far as I'm aware. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never been to Tehran, but it doesn't feel like a giant drone, right? Looking at this footage, it really, I don't know, man, something hits my eye. It doesn't really feel like a drone. Also, it's flying over a residential area, which you probably wouldn't do. And if you do, you would get caught and get into a lot of trouble. Flying a drone of that size, a manned drone or something, over a residential area, not a good idea. So despite all the angles that we get, my theory on this footage is that it's all just CGI. And I can hear what you're saying. You're like, well, bro, but all these angles, man, that's unprecedented. We don't get footage with so many angles of the same object. It's impossible that it's CGI. Well, to be honest, it's not exactly impossible. If you've been following the UFO phenomenon for a while, you may remember the Jerusalem UFO. It's a while back. I think it was like 2011 or something when that footage originally came out. And it showed 4 or 5 angles of the same object. You can see it here. It was perfectly timed. It looked exactly the same. And everyone lost their mind at that time as well. Everyone was like, oh my God, we get all these angles of exactly the same object. They do the same thing. It's got to be real. How could it possibly be fake? But the truth is, it was debunked, okay? And people broke it down. Actually, they really explained how it was faked. Looking back at it now, it looks awfully like CGI. But at the time, you know, you got away with this quality of footage. But now we're in 2024, and you can obviously create much more elaborate CGI hoaxes. And to be honest with you, that's what I think this is. Okay, this is a CGI hoax. It's a fairly elaborate CGI hoax. They created all these different angles. That's my feeling. Again, guys, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Don't be hesitant to share your interpretation of this footage down in the comment section below. Maybe you heavily disagree with everything I said. Happy to listen to your thoughts and your interpretation of it. Put it down in the comments, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown of the 2024 Tehran UFO. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more. Also, please join our Discord community. The link to that is down in the description. That is the place where most people come to share their footage with me. I'm always curious to see the clips that you feel are hard to debunk or hard to explain. Share them with me over on our Discord. Again, the link is in the description, and I would be delighted to meet you over there. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. I'm out. Bye.